Welcome to the Female VC Lab podcast. I have Krista here. Krista, in one line, give me your name, your title, and the name of your fund.
I'm Krista Morgan, a general partner, and our fund is Stage.
So, Krista, what inspired you to become a venture capitalist or an investor?
It was an accident to be. Well, I'll say this. Before I was an investor, I was a founder, and I never thought I would be a founder. And then I never thought I would be an investor. So I seemed to do things that I never expected. I guess I just surprised myself all the time.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's right. The long and short is I was a founder. My company, we were on track we're sort of going down this venture path, and then for some reasons quite beyond my control, we got into trouble. I had to do a turnaround, get the company soft landed and find something else to do. And in the process, I met my partner, Dan, who had founded Stage originally. And he and I we loved working together. And he said, I've been doing this on my own. I would love to have a partner come and join me. And we're an early stage private equity investor.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. So tell me a little bit about your thesis or how you do your selection and kind of the motivation behind that.
Absolutely. The thesis is we take companies that have received Series A funding, Series A, Series B, but as I'm sure there's a 50% drop-off rate really at every round. And so what we do is we come in and we take companies that they're just not going to be, they're not going down that unicorn path. And we take them, we get them restructured, we really give them a fresh start, and we aim to make them profitable and grow them, and then find them an exit that is a good exit for us and for the founder, but is no longer down the VC exit path.
That's actually really great, because if you think about it, you're right, because of the drop off and because there are these gaps. How do you fill those gaps? Because they're probably perfectly fine companies. If you can get a decent return from them, they're perfectly fine companies, but for whatever reasons, there are many varying reasons as to why that happens. And it doesn't mean it's a bad company. It just means it needs like serious help. And that's great.
Exactly. Just like it's not, I think we've created this world where it's venture or nothing. And the reality, and what I think is awesome is if you look at the last couple of years, early stage venture funding has just grown exponentially.
100%.
And what's amazing about that is we're creating all this innovation, right? We're seeding all of these companies that would not have existed without this money. But then what we say, if you don't get past your Series A, you don't matter. Why not give those companies? Yeah, you're not a real company. These companies have often had $20 million invested. $20 million is a lot of money. A lot of innovation's been created there. And our point is, let's not waste that money. Let's just find it. Let's just find it a different home. And really, I think let's give that founder an exit, because when I was founder, I put everything into my company. And so then if it doesn't work out, like you just have nothing. Is this like, what did I do this for?
That's a good point as well. Like from a founder side, you do put your whole life on hold. A lot of things, you pour your life energy into that. And 5 years, 7 years, how many ever years down the road, like to have nothing is pretty devastating.
Pretty devastating. And what I tell founders is we're talking to them. And look, what's really nice is I get to talk to founders at a time that is really hard for them. But at least I can look them in the eye and say, I have been there where you are. I have been where you are. And I know what it's like. And I know this is hard. But there is life. There is a future on the other side of this. While I know you can't, it's hard to see. But what I say to them is, look, you were on a path where if someone had offered you $50 million for your company, you would have had to have said no, because it really wouldn't have been a very good exit for your backers. So let me put you on a path where if someone offers us $50 million, like you're going to walk away. with a couple $1 million, which is life-changing money. We say we all want to be the next sort of
Unicorn.
IPO billionaire, but honestly, for most of us, you get given a couple $1 million,
Two,
it's
5, 10,
life-changing money.
even $10 million. That's
It's
not
life-changing. Yeah,
that's not a terrible amount.
it's not. And so that's what we aim to do.
Awesome. So what are you currently learning or listening to or reading these days?
Oh, so many good things right
Awesome.
now. I know.
You're going to have
I
a
like
great list.
I really like to read. Lately I've been doing a lot of reading on just kind of building early stage companies. I did a lot of that when I was a founder of my company, but thinking about frameworks, a lot of work on go to market, because that's what we're
Go to
doing.
market is critical. Yes.
And just getting into, and it's changing, right? I was
Yes.
working on go to market for my startup 5 years ago, and the world is really different to where it was 5 years ago. Technology's changed,
Completely
even
different.
how you can use LinkedIn, what people are responding to. So
Right.
I've
And
been,
all the video that's happening. You got TikTok
yeah,
now, you got
and
all
I
these
know,
other social channels, Telegram and all the,
I
like
know.
it's a lot of channels. How do you really get someone's attention and communicate? And how do you break through the clutter? That's a very
Correct.
important.
So yeah, so that's a topic that I've been really into. And then for me, because I'm a first time investor, I've been just reading biographies of people that have done this. I'm trying to learn more about private equity. Private equity is a mysterious world to me.
It is, and it's interesting. I was having a conversation yesterday about kind of value. And I said, well, private equity has the best example of value. They look at revenues and they look at fundamental blocking and tackling of a company, and then they can assess a value there. So I said, if you kind of think about it, that's the best way to think about it. That was in my mind.
No, agreed. And I think we're in a funny spot because the companies we're buying are still pretty early stage. You can't, it's not a question of you have to both optimize and you have to figure out how to grow and find that. I find that almost like scrappiness. You really you're trying to find ways to grow that isn't just throwing money at the problem, because that's what we do in a lot of ventures. Like we just we put money into things, we have a lot of money to invest, and so once you don't have that, how do you get back to this growth in a bootstrapping mentality?
That's why it's important. I always tell founders, right, the best money is customer money.
Best money is customer.
The best
100%,
money is customer money.
100%.
Non-dilutive. It's
It is definitely. I agree with that.
That's what I said. All right, Krista. Here's the bonus question. Everyone gets it. In 2 years, when we're talking again, but we'll be talking way before that, how do you see venture or investing having changed or evolved?
That is a good question. In 2 years, so I do think over the next 2021 was a huge year for early stage venture. It was double over 2020. I think over the next 2 years, we're going to see a slowdown, just because I think there's been a lot of money going in. And I think with inflation and macro changes that we'll see, which means I think it will be harder for startups to raise. And interestingly, I actually think that means we're going to see a slight change in focus, right? A more of a change to getting funded by your customers, just more creativity coming from founders in terms of how they're funding their companies.
That's very good. How do people contact you?
The easiest is on LinkedIn. I'm not on TikTok, but I am on LinkedIn.
I'm kind of on TikTok. So now I have to make some TikToks with that.
I'll confess I've not downloaded TikTok yet, but
I haven't downloaded it, but I did make the account, so it is there.
Yeah.
Nothing on it quite yet.
Yeah, but easy. I'm on LinkedIn and I love to hear from people. So that's the best way.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Krista Morgan from Stage, for being my guest on the Female VC Lab podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.